So Nigerians slating a Nigerian, living in Nigeria for sounding like a Nigerian. Now, this is no shade or anything. This kind of behavior is what I would expect from in-it boys and girls, as in Nigerians living in diaspora, hearing a Nigerian accent or an authentic Nigerian accent and having something to say about it. The Nigerian accent is not inferior. Sounding African does not make you inferior to the next person or to the person who has a more Caucasian accent. Hi guys, welcome to Mochunkstv and welcome to another installment of Chit Chat with Mo. We haven't done Chit Chat with Mo in so long, and if you guys, well, I don't know what order I'm going to release the videos in, but soon there will be a video about how I did my braid out, and I was speaking about how I really wanted to bring back Chit Chat with Mo, but rebrand it slightly to not just include life experiences as you guys have seen, but take it back to the original blueprint where sometimes, you know, we did discuss like trending topics and use it as a case study for debate or discussion, or we would ask like controversial questions. So yeah, I just wanted to speak about I mean, I've got a few things on my list today, but I think I'm gonna go for let's go for TayoAina. TayoAina is a Nigerian YouTuber, and I came across him, I think, maybe as a result of watching people or other Nigerian YouTubers like Dima Ume, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and of course my absolute fave, CCWM of life. She's someone that's connected me with Nigeria, same thing with Dima, and he's also helped through his vlogs, showing like properties, doing like his videography style works. Obviously you guys know I'm interested in like media production generally. He really helps to give an insight into what living in Nigeria is like, and of course, because I'm someone that's never really let go of the fact that I grew up in Nigeria. I moved here when I was 10, so that's my heritage, that's like that's my peoples, even though I didn't necessarily live an adult life. So I mean, I lived a very sheltered life. When I was age 9, I did go to secondary school, and that's usually where most people have their experiences. I went to secondary school early. That's where most people have their like interesting experiences, but again, I was in a boarding school, so all my memories of Nigeria are very like closed and in a building and traveling from place to place, because my dad used to work in like Abia. Did he ever work in Enugu? He used to work in different areas, although my family was based in Ibadan. So my memories of Nigeria really is school, boarding school, traveling, because I think my school wasn't in Ibadan, it wasn't in Lagos, but I can't remember where. Traveling from school to school, I went to Shalom secondary school. If anybody might perchance be from Shalom, hi. That was my secondary school. I went there for 1 year, and then when I was age 10, literally a day after my 10th birthday, I was on a flight to England. I'd already been in the UK for a holiday the year before, and I didn't really like it. Let's be frank. Smaller houses, cold weather, the food isn't as authentic. We had to wash plates ourselves. You know, in Nigeria we have like house helps and maids and people that help out with just stuff. But the life in the UK was a bit more independent, and I didn't really like that as an Ajabota that I was grown up, as I was born and bred to be. But that aside, I just wanted to give you guys a bit of a background to see why I really love and value Nigerian YouTubers, because they reconnect me back to my roots. So TayoAinaFilms is one of them, for videography, and also because he reminds me of home. So recently he put out a video, a real estate kind of advert promo, because obviously he does properties and stuff, that's his niche, and brands reach out to him to promote their buildings. And he did a video with a voiceover, and I was wondering, what is it that everybody's talking about? Voiceover. The voiceover is crap. The accent is off. He's not well spoken. I said, okay. So I searched it, and I actually went to go and listen to it.
Nestled in Eco Atlantic is Eco Pearl Towers, which is one of the first completed buildings among many others coming up. Inside Eco Pearl are some of the most luxurious apartments in Lagos, Nigeria.
It actually came from one man actually just someone, he went and downloaded this video, slated the guy, saying, "Oh, and the voiceover is just crap." He slated it in layers, but then he finished it off with the voiceover was crap. Following that, loads of Nigerians on Nigerian Twitter, of course, jumped on the bandwagon and mocking his accent. And people were saying, no, it's not his accent, it's just not well spoken. To me, he sounds like a Nigerian. Now, I'm very careful with using words like not well spoken and not posh enough when we speak about the raw Nigerian accent or the raw Nigerian sound. And to me, he was identifiable as a Nigerian, whether that's the accent, whether that's the sound, whether that's the well spoken or unwell spokenness, or whatever you want to call it. He sounded Nigerian. I could identify him as a Nigerian. So for me, it was baffling to see a lot of other Nigerians who probably sound like him or might have family members that sound like him or live around people that sound like him. This is not foreign to them. This is a very distinctive and identifiable sound that they are very used to. They were slandering him for also sounding like a Nigerian. So Nigerians slating a Nigerian, living in Nigeria for sounding like a Nigerian. Now, this is no shade or anything. This kind of behavior is what I would expect from in-it boys and girls, as in Nigerians living in diaspora, hearing a Nigerian accent or an authentic Nigerian accent and having something to say about it, like it sounds funny, it's not posh enough, it's not this, it's not that, because although they are wrong, I get where they're coming from because they sound totally different and what's around them is different. Now, I'm a big believer in being yourself and being your most authentic self. Just because we're putting on a camera, just because we're editing our videos and putting onto YouTube does not mean that we need to put on a persona that is not ours. Now, I'm personally someone that I like I said at the beginning of this video, I grew up in Nigeria till I was age 10. I'm now 24. I've lived here for about 14 years now. So like sometimes, like not even sometimes, I feel like my accent is very mixed. So you can hear Nigerian, but you can also like hear that I've lived abroad for a while as well. And for me, being my most authentic self, part of that was owning how I sound, because it's not just one, it's both Nigerian and British. And I've kind of struggled with, I previously struggled before I finally decided to just accept myself and just come on here and just be myself. Was, I guess, for me, I had to come to that resolution as well. The Nigerian accent is not inferior. Sounding African does not make you inferior to the next person or to the person who has a more Caucasian accent. And I see a lot in Nigerian communities. Even the radio stations, they're very whitewashed, not by white people, but by westernized accents. When you have a nation that is so excited about everything that is foreign, including how people sound, even though the consumers themselves are not foreign. I think that's what makes me confused sometimes. The consumers themselves are not foreign. They still want to hear and see and experience things that are foreign, and they reject so quickly things that are authentically Nigerian. Like I said, behavior that I would expect from in-it boys and girls. Because I mean, when I was in primary school and I came and my Nigerian accent was conk, they would laugh at me. And even in uni as well, like I'd pronounce certain words differently, and like friends, like my giggle, which you get it, like those kind of things can be quite hurtful. But I think when you realize within yourself that as a Nigerian, as an African, being my most authentic self is actually the key to where I want to get to in life. Not that I have to cover or change or transform or disguise or mask who I am, but being myself. I can only show up as myself, and I can only grow and expand and become, by being myself. And that comes with sounding like you. So I'm glad that TayoAina does his voiceovers with his own voice and doesn't hire somebody else that sounds more Caucasian. And I think a lot of Nigerians need to take a huge leaf out of his book. Because why are we always trying to pretend to be something other than Nigerian? Why are we always trying to be more Caucasian? Why are we always trying to be more westernized? I never see Ghanaians do that. Even Chinese people, as thick as their accent can be, European people, as thick as their accents can be, people from Poland, and all those like countries, as thick as their accent will be, they will make you sit down and listen. They will correct you when you say their names wrong. It's always us. Benga to Ben, Ayo to Ayo, Timmy to Tim. You know, just little things that we do to try and soften our backgrounds. And I think for me, if there's one thing you take away from this video, understand that there's no better time than now, 2020, to be yourself. I think it's moments like this that remind us as Nigerians why we need to stop whitewashing everything and why we need to learn to accept ourselves more. I was disappointed but not surprised. This is the kind of behavior we display, but I think it has to stop. Aina is a brilliant content creator, videographer. In fact, I remember why I got him from Dima Ume's channel. He filmed her apartment tour. My guy came out on Twitter and did a whole YouTube tips for people. Even his haters, I'm sure, took notes. But I'm grateful that he's a man that is authentic, and we should all take a leaf out of his book. I think just to add as well, I think it's time we start focusing on the brilliance of people and the brilliance of the content, especially content creators, the brilliance and the excellence of what they produce, rather than nitpicking little things like, oh, the voiceover, the accent, the not well-spokenness. But of course, inferiority complex. When you see things in other people that you might not be happy about within yourself, for some reason, as human beings, we bully others for things that even we struggle with or things that even we're insecure about. And I know that thing is rife. That's why you see international students from places like China will come to the UK. Their accent will not shift. But you see Nigerians and other Africans, I can only speak about, you know, what I'm in close proximity to. But some Nigerians will come and within 2 weeks, accents change. Like, where did you get this from? And usually it's the wrong one, because sometimes it's from America and that's not even to be shady, but it's just like, because we're trying so hard to not be ourselves, then we start to sound silly. That's one big thing. Like sometimes, yeah, I joke. Me and my siblings would joke with my mom. Like, I don't know why when our friends are around, she'll put on this accent, and I'm just like, Mom, there's no need. Your accent is actually fine. And I think it's identity as well. Like, when one of the letters that I wrote to myself, when I was trying to get over the taunting, because we don't realize how sometimes things stick in your head. Someone might say something in passing. They might just innocently highlight that you pronounced something funny, and that thing can stick in your head, so much so that when, you know, my call requires me to speak. Now, I'm a brilliant speaker, but things like that shut me up for a long time. And I can only imagine, you know, what that's kind of done to Taya. You know, it might make him a bit more jittery when he wants to do his next voiceover. But anyway, I'm just telling you just to highlight the effects that some of our comments can have on people. These are things that they can't. And my accent will sound like this forever. Could they change? Do you understand? Because of the experiences I've had. And this is what I'm saying about it's your identity. It tells a story. You can hear when I speak that, okay, I can hear some Nigerian in there, but I can also hear some British. It's likely that she grew up in Nigeria, but then she came here. You might not get the specifics right, but you get what? It tells a story. Our voices, our accents tell of our experiences, where we grew up. And we don't all have to sound the same. There's beauty in our uniqueness and in our differences, and regardless of whether you've lived in this country for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and this is now speaking to kids in the diaspora that might have these same insecurities by means of being insulted the way TayoAina has been, own who you are. It tells a story. It's your identity. It will never change, but you can change how well you accept yourself. that's all I had to speak about on today's Chit Chat with Mo. I thought it would be nice to just break down topics a bit nicer and a bit longer. You guys let me know what you think. Is it the time to be yourself? Do you have to put on, not necessarily an accent, but a different version of yourself to be more palatable to the world? Or can you just be yourself and you will thrive regardless? Can things like accents, can things like how you sound be a hindrance to the things you really want to do? Is Nigeria's media empire or media game too whitewashed, too Caucasian-like? Does it make sense to have everything foreign in a country that is authentically African? You guys let me know in the comment section down below. Until next time, guys, peace and love. Peace and chunks.